All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about with this Battlefield 6 reveal. They gave us quite literally everything just associating with Battlefield 6. They quite literally didn't hold out on information that they were going to give us. Like, we know way more about this game than I expected us to know. We're going to be talking about gameplay, audio, maps, classes, server browsers, and just a whole bunch of other things that are associated with the new Battlefield 6 that will be dropping with a confirmed date on October 10th, with the open beta dates starting around on August 7th and the 8th, which you'll need a beta code for in order to actually play it on those days. And then the full open beta will be the 9th to the 10th, followed by the 14th through the 17th. So 2 full weekends of just non-stop Battlefield 6 gameplay. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't invited to this event. I'm not that big enough of a creator yet, so hit the subscribe button, but I do follow a lot of accounts that have been reposting and sharing a lot of information. I did watch a very lengthy presentation that they had earlier today. It was about 5 hours or so. So we got a lot of gameplay. We can kind of use as background footage here, but you'll be able to see just like right off the rip with this gameplay, it looks like a refined version of Battlefield 3 and 4 with more of a, you know, like it's got like a modern touch to it to a degree, but it looks like the classic Battlefield that we all know and love. And that was the very first thing I felt when I looked at some of the gameplay for it. It didn't look like it was trying to mimic any other kind of game. It just looked like the traditional Battlefield experience that we all played on PC back in the day, or Xbox. You know, I didn't play Battlefield Bad Company 2, but I did play 3 and 4 back in the day. I know 4 isn't regarded as the most accurate representation of a good Battlefield, but there are a lot of high regards for Battlefield 3. So let's start off by talking about the gameplay of this game. Needless to say, it looks classic. There are some new text in the game to kind of keep up with I guess like a more modern approach to modern gaming. There are slides, there are dives, there are rolls you can do out of windows, but after playing Battlefield 1 and comparing the two, the slide is basically like what you get in Battlefield 1. At least that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like a crutch movement tech. It doesn't look like something you have to do 24/7. It is just there to be there. Probably use the slide in the cover or whatever, but it is not, and I repeat this so much for the people that are listening, it is not a movement tech. It is not a crutch. It is not a way to help you navigate the battlefield quickly. It is none of that. They added a combat roll for you jump out of windows, and it just looks really sick. Now, allegedly, there is some kind of crazy movement tech you can hit where it's like a jump slide and that allows you to be fully accurate. I don't think they should keep that in. This isn't the kind of game, I think, where you need to have jump sliding into these crazy accurate firing positions. Just keep it about the gunplay for the most part. They gotta fix that. And then there is a dolphin dive, but I didn't really see much of it. I don't think it's going to be effective either. Just like the slide, it's just there to be there. It's a quick get it behind cover kind of technique, but I don't think it's going to play in some heavy role with you doing all this crazy maniac movement, as people like to refer to it as nowadays. There isn't a tactical sprint in this game either, so you do have your regular base sprint, which is fine with me. I think tactical sprint is the dumbest invention ever. 2 sprints, having to double tap the same input to run twice, I never liked that. There is a very high lack of visual recoil, and I do think the recoil in general in the game is probably going to get adjusted because some of the guns literally do not move like at all. But from what gameplay I saw, there's very little visual recoil, which is something a lot of gamers have been asking for, especially a lot of those keyboard and mouse players. Visual recoil is basically when you fire your gun and your whole screen shakes. There's visual clutter too sometimes, depending on the game. There's just a bunch of mess on your screen where you're just trying to shoot your gun straight, and it just makes it look awful, right? That's what visual recoil is. I don't see any in this game. There is a decent lack of actual gun recoil, which I'm sure they're going to adjust over time because you don't want just straight laser beam shooting in this game. I have no idea how strong aim assist is either before anybody, you know, gets tight about aim assist. People played this game on console too, and there was very minimal aim assist back in those days too. So I'm sure they're probably going to keep it as minimal as they can because people will not be happy about that. But overall, there was very little actual visual recoil. Gun recoil needs a little bit of adjustment, but I don't really think there's like, you know, that's something that's going to come over time, right? The class system, we're actually going to take a tweet over from Battlefield Wire. Breaking it. DICE lead producer David Serlin has confirmed that Battlefield 6 will lock weapons to classes at launch. If you do not like the system, and I quote, both styles, lock and open weapons, will make it into the launch regardless of how the beta goes. It's not like this is a test where whatever you play with more we will choose. No, we will support both. So they're going to support locked and unlocked class systems in the game, and I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do that, but I'm sure they're going to figure a way out to do it without breaking the game. Maybe they have like separate playlists or something, who knows. But both options will be there, but they are no longer just neglecting one or the other, and I'm actually really excited to hear about that. I do think when a game limits your choice and makes you have to actually think about your weapon construction or your loadout or whatever, it's good that you don't just get everything, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad there's some limitations, things that force you to play other classes. I think that's just a necessity. Way too many games give you participation trophies nowadays where you just have everything given to you. There's no effort really put into it, nothing you have to really try for. You're just given everything. So I like that idea. And let me not forget get this. There's also a points system for the weapon attachments in this game. You get up to 100 points. Certain attachments can cost 10 to 20 points a piece. Basically like a pick 10 system from the old Call of Duty days, so you don't just slap on every single attachment that you can get. I don't know how beneficial this will be, so I have to kind of wait for that to play out. I don't know what attachments are going to be quote unquote meta or whatever. I do like that there is going to be some picking and choosing, again for the same reason earlier. Having the ability to like be limited in what you could choose is just extremely important. I think in a lot of modern games, people need to stop just being rewarded for nothing, in my opinion. Continuing on with some more gameplay discussions, I mean, everything else looked like your standard Battlefield experience. Very destructible environments, tanks everywhere, and aircraft that absolutely nobody knows how to pilot correctly, save for like maybe 1 to 5 people. But overall, it looks like a classic Battlefield experience, and I think that's just the best part about it. It looks chaotic, it looks crazy, it looks fun. I said this when I was watch partying the official stream. This is the first game in a long time that looks like a video game, but like in the good way. It looks like a classic video game. It doesn't look like what we have in the modern times. It looks like a silly, fun, chaotic, but still stuck in that grounded, thematic feel video game. And that's just so important, I think, nowadays, because every single game nowadays, they all try to go over the top and do too much. This looks like something we could have played back in like 2008, 9, 10, 11, or 12. And that is just what I think everybody has been kind of hoping for. There's going to be a variety of different map sizes for different modes. There will be a total of 9 maps and I think 8 different modes, if I'm not mistaken. In terms of the 9 maps that are going to be in the game, you've got Liberation Peak, Empire State, New Sobek City, Manhattan Bridge, Iberian Offensive, Mirak Valley, Siege of Cairo, Saints Quarters, and Operation Firestorm, which again is a remake of the original Battlefield 3 map. In terms of the game modes that you're actually going to be getting in this game too, we've got Breakthrough, Conquest, Rush, Domination, Escalation, which I'll explain more of in just a second, King of the Hill, Squad Deathmatch, and Team Deathmatch. Escalation is when 2 teams fight to capture strategic control points in order to extend their territory. First team to lock down 3 objectives wins, which is pretty straightforward and to the point. Empire State will be an infantry-only map. Kandahar Valley is the largest map at launch. Manhattan Bridge is set to feature large-scale destruction. Operation Firestorm is a remake of the classic Battlefield 3 map, but the maps overall have that just beautiful Battlefield vibe to them. The sound design of these maps is also incredible. Footsteps are really easy to hear, it seems like, and from what some of the streamers were saying, the audio is very directional, so it's easy to kind of tell what direction people are coming from, which is an issue games like Call of Duty Warzone have had like a problem with balancing, is the footstep audio, and it seems like they're doing it right in this game for Battlefield 6. Obviously that's a different developer studio from the Call of Duty developers. The audio for the guns sound really crisp and clear. They sound realistic and believable. Everything that was fired in this showcase just sounded absolutely amazing to the ear. The ambient audio, like the jets flying over, all of the background explosions, all of that, it just gave that nice thematic, you're in a war vibe that we have been missing from a lot of video games in recent years. I actually talked about this a couple of times in different Call of Duty videos, not to make a comparison between the two, but the thing that COD has been lacking is that ambient audio in the background that the classic games like MW2, MW3, World at War had, with distant explosions and fighter planes periodically flying over. They miss those bits of ambient audio, things that make the world feel lived in. And that's one of the things I noticed with this reveal. There's so much good audio going on in the background. It just feels very thematic and just explosive and chaotic overall. Battlefield has announced that there will be a Forge mode called Portals. You'll be able to make your own custom maps with a built-in server browser.
And with the return of Portal, you can also build, share, and play your custom created experiences.
This new, more powerful version of Portal will enable creators to use an updated toolset that features editing tools that will let you create even wilder experiences. That's not all. In Portal's newly redesigned Verified mode, modifiers will allow players to set up hardcore rule sets with one-shot kills, closed weapons, and so much more, all with full progression and XP gain.
With updates to our UI and navigation systems,
it will be easier than ever to find and share exciting new experiences made with Portal.
So basically, there's going to be a community page where people will make fun, stupid maps. They even had some fun, stupid map showcases for the reveal, like this one map where you just walk up this giant road and there are tanks and stuff falling down on top of you as you're trying to get to the top. I think GTA did a bunch of these. But the fact that this game will have a Forge mode is going to be insane. We're going to be seeing some absolutely insane creations, and you'll be able to gain XP in these Forge maps. And then let's talk about the more stressful things, such as the microtransactions and the cosmetics. Well, just to keep it short, this is a direct quote from the devs themselves. The thing we can say, we are a military shooter in modern times. So that means hopefully we're not aiming to have clowns and cartoons and anime and colorful hair and all this other garbage in the actual game itself for these big battles. They're keeping it thematic, I hope, and just keeping it a full-scale military shooter. Now, do not get me wrong. I mean, I do like cool skins from time to time, but I like it when skins fit the theme of the game, the art style. We don't need anything that steps out of those boundaries, in my personal opinion. Let this game be itself. Don't let it be another Fortnite, basically. And there is a small little clip from Charlie Intel basically showcasing all of the available weapons in the Battlefield 6 beta, which seems to be pretty extensive. You're gonna have a lot of options for your ARs, SMGs, your LMGs. You get all your grenades and tacticals for the most part, like your typical regular grenade, flashbang, etc. They're giving you a lot of gear for the beta, which is really, really nice. I feel like a lot of betas have that issue where they don't give you enough equipment to kind of play around with, you know, but I'm glad they are giving you a decent amount of options to experience this game overall. I generally just can't believe how much stuff they're actually giving you for free in the beta just to kind of play around with. So I'm happy about that, and it's going to be hectic trying to make a video on certain guns and weapons or whatever, you know what I mean? So we'll see what we can do about that. And then I guess to end this video off, we can kind of talk about the Battle Royale, but there really isn't much on it, to be honest. It's just called Firestorm, I believe. And that's really it. I saw somebody on Twitter say, I don't know what page it was, say it looked like it takes place in California. Other than that, that's really it. I don't really know what else is gonna be, I don't know, coming with that Battle Royale. They haven't really talked about it too much, and to be honest, I'm really more interested in the core multiplayer experience, so I'll just wait for more information to kind of drop on that and then make maybe a separate video on that. And in the process of making this video, the devs have actually already nerfed the assault class. You can no longer have double primaries for the assault class, meaning no shotguns and AR combos, which looked a little absurd in the preview that we saw today. So I'm glad they're already jumping to fix stuff like that, because that's just a little too much going on for one character. Overall, I'm excited. That's basically all the news I've got for you guys today. If there's any more that drops, I will attempt to make a second video on this in a very timely manner. This one is a little bit late. There will be pre-order bonuses, including something that some people are considering to be closer to like a black cell option that's in Call of Duty. I'll take this tweet from Charlie Intel really quick. Battlefield 6 appears to have its own version of Call of Duty's black cell called BF Pro Token. Battlefield 6 Phantom Edition includes a BF Pro Token, which unlocks the battle pass, 25 tier skips, and a bundle. I don't know if that's really a token unless or a black cell, unless they're going to have that for multiple seasons throughout the game. If they do, then it's kind of like it, but I don't know. It just sounds like something that comes with like a premium edition of the game. And the base game will cost you $70, with the Battle Royale being free. Here's a list of some of the open beta rewards as well, and there are no pre-order ways to get into the game, so you do have to watch streams or sign up for Battlefield Labs in order to get the early access version of the beta. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like on it, sub to the channel for more gaming content. As always, this has been your boy Jay. I'll catch you later. Peace.
objective! Take it! Hold the objective!